with all the very latest from around the world. And here at home this Thursday lunchtime now, it's the ITV News.
Prince Harry hits out at Putin, telling him to stop the war in Ukraine. He had a message for the White House too over its changing attitude since the Russian invasion. He arrived this morning in a surprise visit to the capital, Kyiv.
I'm not here as a politician. I am here as a soldier who understands service and as a friend of Ukraine who believes the world must not grow used to this war or numb to its consequences.
Also this lunchtime, cancer cases reach a record high. One person is diagnosed every 80 seconds. But will survival rates worsen while so many wait to start their treatment? From food packaging to power showers, will a traffic light label stop us wasting water? Our consumer editor really tried it out for himself.
All the experts say that although this is using far less water, it feels just about the same, so I'll give it a go.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
And back in the sea, but this time in Wales, why you can step on board the Jaws boat.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Hossain.
Good afternoon. President Putin, stop this war. Those were the words of Prince Harry this lunchtime as he arrived in Kyiv for a surprise visit to Ukraine. Speaking at a security forum, he had some rather pointed remarks for Donald Trump too. Although he didn't mention the president by name, the prince called on the US to play its part in global security. And while he'll use the trip to meet injured soldiers, he'll also see the work of the Halo Trust, the anti-landmine charity that his mother famously supported. Our royal editor Chris Shipp is in Kyiv, the only broadcast correspondent with access to Harry on the trip. Chris, this was a visit that was kept secret until today.
Yes, good afternoon from Kyiv, Nina, where Prince Harry has made a significant intervention, in fact, I think a rather political intervention into the war here in Ukraine. Now, we were at Ukraine's main railway station early this morning to see Harry as he stepped off an overnight train that he took from Poland. And the point of his visit here not only was to make this rather significant speech to this security forum, which is convened just near to where we are now, but also to support the work of two charities very close to his heart, the Invictus Games Foundation for Wounded Personnel and the Halo Trust. And I'll speak about them in just a moment. But Harry echoed the words of his mother when she famously said in Angola in 1997 on that Halo Trust landmine walk that she was not a politician but a humanitarian. Well, listen to how similar Harry's words were to his mother's when he spoke here a short time ago.
I am not here as a politician. I am here as a soldier who understands service, as a humanitarian who has seen the human cost of conflict, and as a friend of Ukraine who believes the world must not grow used to this war or numb to its consequences.
Now, he had a message for two presidents, Trump and Putin. He didn't mention Donald Trump by name. He did say, however, the United States does have a duty and obligation to Ukraine to keep funding it and to keep supporting it. But he had a very direct message for President Vladimir Putin of Russia.
President Putin, no nation benefits from the continued loss of life we are witnessing. There is still a moment now to stop this war.
Chris, Harry has only just finished a tour of Australia but with Meghan, but this is a very different type of trip, isn't it?
Yeah, Yeah, very different indeed. I mean, people will be saying, hold on, what is this? A royal tour or not a royal tour? In Australia, a lot of it was about money making as well. This, however, different. He's on his own. He's not with his wife. But also, this is an active conflict zone. There have been sirens here in Kyiv whilst he's been here as well. But yeah, a very different type of visit. He's focused on that work of not only those who demine, but also those who have been severely injured. And as I said earlier, very, very close to his heart to support those kind of people.
Chris, thank you very much. Thank you. The number of people being diagnosed with cancer has reached record levels in the UK, with around one person being diagnosed every 80 seconds. Research by Cancer Research UK shows more than 403,000 people are diagnosed with the disease every year. That's around 620 people per 100,000. The charity says an ageing population and increasing levels of obesity have contributed to that rise. All this as waiting times in England for treatment continue to be a problem, with around 107,000 patients waiting more than 62 days to start their treatment last year. I'm joined now by Caris Betts from Cancer Research UK. Thank you very much for coming in. The good news that we're hearing from your report today is that survival rates are improving. Will that progression continue, though, when we've got so many people waiting to start their treatment beyond the government's target?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like, we've seen so much progress in the last few decades of survival and seeing more people survive cancer than ever before. But that progress is slowing down, and for the reasons that you mentioned. We've got an ageing population, and that's kind of a growing population that's putting more pressure on our health system. So it's a really kind of pertinent time right now. We've just had the National Cancer Plan published, so it's really important that this is a turning point for cancer now, and it's not just a plan on a page. It's not job done now that the report's out. We need to really make sure that there's the correct investment in staff, in infrastructure, in kit, to make sure that these rates can come down.
How have we dropped the ball on this as a country? Because we know that we're all living longer, and we know that we've got a problem with preventable cancers, whether they're caused by obesity, smoking, all the different reasons. And yet, if you are the person that gets that terrifying diagnosis, you're then in a position where the scary waiting time can be longer than you know it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think about, like you said, one person every 8 seconds is getting this news, and people are waiting to start their treatments, and we want those treatments starting quicker. So it's really important that we've got enough expert staff. The government need to invest in having those specialists that can do those types of treatments, having the workforce, having the kit, and those new innovations and new things that we're finding out are the better ways to treat cancer, getting them into the health system faster, so getting them out of the labs and getting treatments into the hands of.
Other countries are dealing with the same problems in terms of the good news that people are living longer. How do their statistics compare with ours? Because that's the real kind of marker of whether we're tackling this or not.
Yeah, we do see the UK lagging behind lots of similar countries, and that's not good. It's not good enough. We see countries like Australia and Denmark doing far more. So again, we've got real opportunities to increase these rates of early diagnosis, with that target of 75% of people being diagnosed at an early stage set up with the government. That will need kind of the fastest level of progress we've had in a century. It's very ambitious, so we need to make sure that there's the right accountabilities. People are doing the things. We're actually sustainably putting money into things and making sure that people are going to have the best possible outcomes.
On obesity, do you think the rise in use of skinny jabs on the NHS might help the cancer cases related to obesity?
I mean, it's all kind of really early days to understand the role of the kind of glucagon-like peptide, the GLP-1 agonist drugs, and their role in weight loss and kind of prevention of disease.
Okay, we'll wait to see on that one. On the government's response, they say that the tobaccos and vapes bill will help prevent cancer cases in the future, and I'm sure it will in terms of the rates of tobacco usage falling, which is identified in your report. But we don't yet know what the impact of vapes is on the human body, do we? We haven't got enough research yet.
Yeah, so it's a massive landmark bill. It's a great piece of legislation which will stop kind of tobacco ever being in the hands of the next generation. But like you said, the vapes are kind of a newer thing on the market. We wouldn't advise that everyone is using them, and if you're using them as a way to stop smoking, they're really, really effective. But like you said, there's lots of kind of long-term things that we still need to find out about them.
Absolutely. Okay, Caris Betts, thank you very much for coming in. A fascinating report. Thank you. Pregnant women in England are to be offered more routine checks for deadly complications as the NHS try to bring down soaring maternal deaths, which are at their highest rate in 2 decades. The new standards mandate that all women will be offered an early risk assessment for blood clots before their first antenatal appointment, as well as routine mental health checks before and after giving birth. A new deal has been agreed with France to try and prevent illegal migrants travelling to the UK on small boats. The Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, in Dunkirk today to sign a 3-year agreement that is worth up to £660 million. For the first time, some of that cash will be held back if action by French authorities does not produce results. The Conservatives say that the French shouldn't see a penny until they are seen to be stopping the majority of the crossings. Our reporter Ellie Pitt has been speaking to people staying at a migrant camp in Dunkirk to hear what they think of the new plans.
I've been speaking to migrants here this morning and asking them if this new deal between the UK and France will put them off trying to cross the channel or has made them more concerned about their safety in trying to do that. And the simple response from them has been no, because several of them tell me they've already accepted the dangers of this journey and that they are prepared for that. One man told me that after his asylum application was rejected in Europe, he feels he has no choice but to try and reach Britain, and that if he dies in doing so, at least he died trying.
Taking me back to my country, definitely that will be death. Also crossing the border, I still have the chances are 50-50. I may get there, I may not get there. But rather than going home, where I'm very sure I'll be put to death.
Just a few miles from here in Dunkirk, the Home Secretary and the French Interior Minister have agreed this new 3-year, £660 million deal. Well, what does the UK get for that? Well, there'll be riot police deployed onto French beaches, there'll be more drone surveillance and more maritime patrols on the water. And this deal is slightly different to the one that came before it, in that £160 million of that money will only be reinvested each year if these new tactics are successful. But when I asked the Home Office if they're going to put a target on the number of boats that the French police need to intercept for that to be deemed successful, the Home Office said no, they wouldn't be doing that. Now, already this year, more than 4,000 migrants have made the journey from France to the UK, and as the weather gets warmer and calmer, it's expected that that number will rise.
Ellie Pitt reporting there from Dunkirk. US President Donald Trump says there is no time frame for ending the war in Iran after indefinitely extending US-Iran ceasefire. Trump denies he is rushing to secure a deal ahead of US midterm elections in November. The Pentagon also announced that Navy Secretary John Phelan has stepped down, marking another senior departure since the conflict began. Iran's president and its lead negotiator have both cited the US blockade a main obstacle to negotiations. And a head-on collision between 2 high-speed trains in Denmark has left 5 people in a critical condition and at least 12 others injured. The crash occurred on a level crossing early this morning in the northeast of the country. A large-scale emergency response is underway while authorities investigate the cause. A leading carers charity is calling for an urgent law change that would give vulnerable adults in social care the legal right to nominate a family member as a designated care supporter. It follows our investigation into care companies that found some were wrongly preventing families from visiting their loved ones after raising concerns about the standard of their care. Our investigations editor Dan Hewitt has this report.
When the phone rings, Marjorie can't miss the call.
Hello, Laura. Hello, Mummy. How are you? I'm okay, love. How's my wee woman?
The chance to speak to her daughter is too precious.
What, love?
Laura has learning disabilities, and for the past 2 years her parents have been restricted in when they can visit her. They say because they complained about the care provider where she lived.
She just went downhill. She just wasn't being accounted for.
Lying in bed all day, plus the dirt of the apartment, the food hygiene, the fridge, the washing machine, everything we found fault with.
Laura was being cared for by the Cedar Foundation in Belfast. Mark and Marjorie say their key fob to access her flat was disabled without their knowledge and limits placed on when they could visit.
When we put in complaints, they were starting to exclude us. They're just treating us like second-class citizens. Ben and Laura's parents, and they know how much we love her and care about her.
The Cedar Foundation say they are sorry that the family felt unhappy with the care and support they provided, but refute that contact was restricted as a result of them raising concerns. But now more than 100 charities led by Care Rights UK are calling for a change in the law to give unrestricted legal rights to a nominated family member.
People are too afraid to speak out. It will empower individuals to choose for themselves who they want to be there, to be their eyes, their ears and their voice when they need them.
Laura has now moved into a mental health hospital where visiting rights are even more limited. Her parents support a change to the law. Daniel Hewitt, ITV News.
You can read more about Dan's investigation on our website itv.com/news. First, the Prime Minister has said his cabinet are working hard despite reports that he's losing support of some ministers. It comes as another senior civil servant has been giving evidence about the security vetting of Lord Mandelson when he was appointed as US Ambassador. Our political reporter Shihab Khan is in Westminster. Shihab, this doesn't seem to be going away for Sir Keir Starmer.
No, absolutely not, and it's been a scandal that has been ticking over for quite some time, and in that time has been causing both damage to the Prime Minister's authority and resulting in some of his colleagues questioning his judgment. There have been reports of members of the cabinet potentially suggesting that the Prime Minister can't go on, but you have to look at this as wider than the scandal itself. There's been concerns about the polling position of the Labour Party, concerns about U-turns, the fact that Reform in particular are doing well and the threat that the party faces. It's got to a point where a number of Labour MPs have publicly said it. Jonathan Brash, who is a Labour MP, has said that he doesn't think the Prime Minister can go on, and today the Prime Minister was asked about that directly.
I won a mandate in 2024, a landslide mandate, to deliver change for this country. I intend to deliver on that mandate. We've already made huge progress. Is there further work to be done? Yes, of course there is. That's why we're going to the second session of Parliament, where we'll set out what we'll build on the foundation of what we've already done.
Now, the Prime Minister's position is he's going absolutely nowhere. The big test that's coming up are the local elections, which are taking place early in May. If those don't go particularly well for the Labour Party, there'll be even more discussions about the potential candidates that could replace him, and that's probably the next big test that's on its way.
Shihab Khan, thank you. ITV News has details of new compulsory water efficiency labels set to be unveiled by the UK government. The labels will rate household appliances like showers, dishwashers, taps, washing machines and toilets. But some industry insiders say these labels are a waste of time and money. Our consumer editor Chris Choi has more.
Water pressure is building. That's because climate change and population growth mean we'll need more in the decades ahead. Government says using less relies on choosing the right household goods, like showers.
So are you using too much water? Look at this. The difference between a really efficient shower and one that's just about average can be this amount of water. We're talking about 3 buckets full every single time you use it. And the government is claiming that you're not just going to be saving water, you'll also be saving money.
The reason why people save money is for 2 reasons. 1, they use less water, and 2, they're using less energy to heat that water. Because 11% of people's energy bills are actually because of the cost of heating water.
Retailers will soon need to use these labels rating appliances on water efficiency for showers, dishwashers, taps, toilets and washing machines. This expert agrees with the principle, but says new labels aren't needed.
There was a water label that already existed, and then of course the government have decided now to introduce a new water label.
What problems do you think that causes?
The first thing it causes is confusion, of course. manufacturers themselves.
Last year, the UK had its driest spring since 1893. Consumer groups are backing these new labels, and when they come in this autumn, government hopes they'll make a splash. But obviously, not too much of a splash. Chris Troy, ITV News.
Finally, how do you feel when you hear this? Now, fans of the horror classic Jaws can visit an exact replica of the boat in the film in North Wales. Nick Dixon went to take a look.
Well, the fictional town of Amity, featured in Jaws, is around 3,000 nautical miles from Conwy in North Wales, but this is where the world's first full-size replica of the Orca has ended up, and it really is the ultimate experience for any Jaws fan. I'll give you the guided tour. Of course, the barrel's a big part of the Orca, featured throughout the film. They had to be on board, but really it's the attention to detail as you go onto the deck that really is so impressive. The shark cage, of course, but also the scuba gear used by Matt Hooper in the film, all completely screen accurate, even down to the mask, exactly the same as the one that he used when he went into the shark cage to confront the shark. But I think the thing that fans will absolutely adore is sitting in Quint's chair and using, again, screen accurate rod and reel, just as he did in the film. Fans are going to love it here in North Wales. Let's have a chat with John, who spent 3 years of his life putting this together. John, the fans will be forever grateful to you.
I did it for the fans, and yeah, they've absolutely loved it. Those that have managed to get down and come onto the boat already have just been in absolute wonderland. They've absolutely enjoyed it. Just to see the look on their faces has made it all worthwhile.
And a lot of this is just screen accurate, and it must have taken a lot of work to put it all together.
Yeah, very difficult to find all these pieces, but again, the fans notice all the little bits and pieces that are put on the boat, and again, they really appreciate the effort that's gone in.
Great, thank you, John. Talking of the fans, John's had contact in the last few weeks from people who've seen pictures online, and they want to come down here, in some cases, to get married on board the Orca.
The Kretzia is here with the evening news at 6:30 from everyone on the Lunchtime team. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye for now.